Alright, so I've already tried to do this video 3 times, and twice I covered up the mic. When I cover up the mic on my camera, you can't hear me talk. I sound like I'm underwater. So, I know you're like wondering, well, what's up with the title of this video? Well, this is a pretty good story. Maybe I should just start the story with arriving. So I flew over to Germany, met up with a band from Seattle, and I toured with them for like 4 days, something like that. Anyway, the second show, so I met with them in Munich. The second show was in Torgau. So this is the story. This is before I knew anything about it being a fortress. This is what happened. Alright, so we drove, oh man, I mean it was like 7 hours or something. It was a lot of driving, and we didn't stop a whole lot. So we arrive, it's dark, and we pull up, and there's some trees. I remember some trees around, and then there's like this kind of like what it looked like was just the front of a brick building. You know, like, it didn't look that big. I mean, all I saw was like an entranceway. Everything else was really dark, right? I mean, there was like a light in the entranceway. We could see our way in to get the gear inside, right? So we load our gear inside, and you know, and it's like a punk rock club, really. I mean, you know, mostly they have hardcore shows or, you know, some rock bands or whatever, but they had the Rotten Apples from Seattle play there, and I was just helping them out, doing some video footage, helping sell some merch. I wanted to do a documentary, which didn't really turn out. I did a short thing, but it didn't turn out to be much. Anyway, so we're in there talking, and you know, this is my second day, and I'd never been in Europe before, and you know, in Germany, and I was just overwhelmed. I was like, man, this is amazing, you know, like just meeting people, talking to people, drinking, you know, great beer. Like the curry was amazing. I remember they brought us curry. It was just like completely just absolutely delicious. So at one point, I don't know why I decided to take a piss outside, but I did. I don't remember why. Like maybe the bathroom, some bathroom was full or something. So I go outside, and I go around the side of what I could see, you know, like when we first arrived there, and I'm taking a piss on the edge of the building, actually, and I look up, and the moon was like bright enough that it shined down on. I literally, my jaw dropped. This building that I'm pissing on right here, that the show's in, actually goes for like what looks like a quarter of a mile. This building is huge. Like, I'm like looking at it, but the moon is showing its, so you could barely see, like you could see that the top of it go all the way, and you could see that this is a building that starts right where I'm standing. But all the lights are off, you know, so the moon is just putting light on it, so I can see the whole building. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this place? I mean, I was like, I thought initially it was just like a little brick building that had a punk rock club in it, right? All of a sudden, I see this. This is one of the longest buildings I've ever seen in my life. I felt like. So at that point, I'm like, and there's no lights on. There's no lights on. The whole thing is darkness. And I'm like, what the hell? And I just stand there for probably 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and I'm just like, I can't see anything in front of me. I don't have a flashlight, so I didn't want to go walking very far, but it was a really didn't as much freak me out, like creepy or anything. I mean, in a sense it was, but I was just more like in a sense of amazement, right? And I go back inside, and everybody thought I was crazy, even the band members, because it really blew my mind, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, you know, yeah." And they were telling me all these stories, so they could. And one thing, like, I don't know German, so I mean, and these folks knew English a little bit, so they're trying to explain to me, and you know, they were telling me like it was once like Napoleon's fortress, and you know, there's insane history of this spot. So I'm going to show you. Unfortunately, they demolished it, you guys. So that's the fortress there, and that's the castle. So that's a huge castle across the River Elbe, and that's the new bridge. Where the bridge that was blown up was right in front of the castle. So if you look up the River Elbe Torgau, you'll see pictures of that castle or video of that castle, and right across is this fortress. And that thing is like super long, you guys. I mean, I wish you could see, you know, you can't even see how small the cars are, you know. But they demolished it. So I'm like bummed now because I brought up Google Earth and it's demolished. They demolished the castle or the fortress or whatever the hell. But you can see, you know, I mean, that's a huge castle. One side of that is about 3/4 as long as this. So I was at this very far end where the punk rock club was, and I went out to take a piss, and I could see the whole I couldn't even see the end of the building when I was taking a piss. So long. I just knew it was like, what the, you guys, I hope you understand what I mean, I know it's maybe I know I have one friend from Betty. If you know the name of that fortress, or please let me know, because I was looking and looking and looking, and I found names of fortresses, but I was having a hard time finding the name of that one for sure. But there's all this footage of right in that area, and they always show like a tree lines on the other side, and that's where the fortress is, but you can't see the fortress. So anyway, like, it's kind of interesting, you know, the history of it. I don't know what happened, you know. Maybe they got scared that kids were going in there, and I don't know. Maybe somebody got killed or hurt in there. They were like, oh, we just got to tear this down, you know. But the history of that fortress, I remember people that lived in Torgau were telling us all the history of it, because I was so interested. Nobody else seemed like they cared that much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, whatever. It was like, to them it was just another building, you know. But I was really interested in it. So I wanted to tell that story. Yeah. So I pissed on Napoleon's fortress, and it was torn down and bombed because I didn't get any video or photos, because my battery had died the next day, and I had to get a new charger when we got to Berlin. So I didn't get. I was so bummed, man. That was like, it's been on my brain for. That's one of the main points of my whole trip. Favorite points of my whole trip, you know. I mean, of course, like Pompeii and stuff, but anyway, alright, I just wanted to tell that story. Thanks.